Hey everybody, welcome into another edition of the Hyrule Huddle podcast from HyruleHuddle.com. I'm Kevin, he's Josh. We're here, we're going to talk some sports, we're going to talk about some games, and we're going to talk a lot about some pop culture things going on because, Josh, there's a whole ton of stuff going on. Josh, how's it going today?
It is going fantastic, man. Other than the massively swollen ankle that I have, it is going great.
You moving around? You doing well over there right now?
Moving around gingerly and generously, which is probably the reason I'm not healing.
Well,
I should probably just keep it to gingerly instead of generously.
Well, they say slow and steady can win the race, so I mean, you're in the game as far as I'm concerned.
Well, as long as I'm in the game, then I'm good.
Yeah, you're like EA Sports. You're in the game.
But speaking of EA Sports, you know who's not in the game?
Who is not in the game right now?
The Falcons are not in the game.
Yes, let's talk briefly about the Super Bowl. Before we do that, though, Josh, let's just remind everybody that they're listening to the Hyrule Huddle podcast, and there are a number of ways you can give us a follow. You can follow us on Twitter at Hyrule Huddle. You can check out the Facebook page at facebook.com/thehyrule-huddle. And check out the Twitch channel. I swear we're going to start doing some streaming soon at twitch.tv/thehyrule-huddle. Lots of ways to get involved. And, of course, hyrulehuddle.com is the website. But, yes, we are a little bit more than a week away, removed from the Super Bowl. We're kind of late to the game on this, so let's kind of touch about it real quick. Atlanta Falcons, I thought they looked like they were on their way to a Super Bowl championship. But, Josh, I don't know about you, but I was watching that game, and I got the sense that I was watching the Rose Bowl all over again.
I'm going to be so very honest right now. I turned the game off because I was like, wow, this is dumb. I'm wasting my Sunday. And then I get a look down at my phone and read that the Pats won that game. And I was like, man, I missed out. So, of course, like any good sporting fan would, I immediately tracked down a copy of the game and watched it in full. And while I missed the moment of being there on Twitter, which for the incredible collapse, which will forever bum me out because that would have been a fun national conversation to have been in on. I've also seen major collapses before, but yeah, man, I don't know how you blow a 25-point lead. I mean, it's just. I think the best part for me is when I finally was watching the game, like there was a moment in there when you have like you could see Arthur Blank's wife like staring up at him as he's just got this scowl on his face. It's just like he came down because he thought, okay, we're going to win this thing, and then somehow or another the Patriots not only tie it, but then the Falcons don't even see the ball again. They just don't even get a chance. Tom Brady, 80 yards, no problem. Not going to bother me. I'm going to take this thing all the way and score on the first drive. That was an incredible collapse. And I'll say this, man. Outside of the UConn women who won their 100th game in a row last night, outside of them, because they are the most dominant team in our lifetimes. Like, whether or not people want to admit that women's basketball is a sport is not my problem, because it is. And these ladies are competing. You don't just win 100 games in a row.
No.
You just don't know. Yeah, I mean, it takes a lot of hard work to do that. But outside of those ladies, I would say that the Patriots have been the most fun and dominant team I've watched in sports. So it's It's fun, and at the same time, it's maddening all at once, because I don't know how you blow a 25-point lead, but I'm sure that one will go up there with the Cavs and the Indians and the Warriors blowing 3-1 leads.
It probably will, and I will say that I was a little extra frustrated because I didn't really have a rooting interest until I realized that I could have had a chance to win big with our season-long confidence football pool that I do through my dad's work. I was in a position where if the Falcons had won the game and the guy that was right in front of me picked the Patriots, I was going to win. And for 3.5 quarters, I thought I was going to be winning some big money right there. And then to watch that lead just crumble away, I could feel the dollars slipping through my fingers and into somebody else's
hand. When it
hand.
hit overtime, you knew you were losing that money, right?
I knew if that game was going to overtime, I had pretty much lost already. The way that game was going, there was no way the Falcons were going to come back and help me out.
Especially once they lost the toss. I mean,
exactly. It was all the downhill.
The toss, the look on the players' faces was just one of like, oh, this can't be happening, man.
Yeah.
Like they just knew that nobody was going to stop Tom Brady in that moment. It was not going to happen.
No, was not going to happen. So congratulations, Patriots fans. You get another Super Bowl championship to celebrate, another title in the Boston sports area. Must be nice. Maybe what goes around will come around someday, but congratulations to all the Patriots fans out there. And, hey, congratulations to the Falcons. It was a heck of a ride, and we'll see what they do coming up next year. But, yeah, so NFL season's done. Football is basically done now. We're in that off-season officially in all aspects of the game, although spring football is right around the corner. Another football story, though, that we're keeping tabs on is the continuing saga, unfortunate saga, of what's going on with the Baylor football program. Big 12 obviously has come out last week, and they are going to cut the revenue distribution to Baylor University by 25%. Obviously, a lot of negative headlines surrounding the Baylor program. You and I have talked about Baylor a number of times, but was that the right move for the Big 12, you think?
Right now, yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. I think the Big 12 may be facing expulsion to a member, depending on how far this goes. Because look, man, if it's true that what these text messages that were released, if these text messages are true and Art Briles knew all along, then, well, straight put simply, that man belongs in prison.
I think so. I'm not going to argue that one bit. Art Briles went on his little redemption tour a while back, and that just looks even more foolish by the day that the more information comes out. So, I honestly feel bad for Matt Rule, the new head coach down there from Temple, taking over the program, because I mean he had to have known to a degree what he was stepping into, and I think But I don't think in his wildest mind like he thought that it was going. I think in a lot of people's minds they thought it had gotten as bad as it could get. It was just going to be a matter of uncovering what went on. Yeah, I think that's right. I don't think people thought it could possibly get worse. Yeah, I mean, that's probably legit right there. And obviously, he took that job, and Baylor made sure that he was going to have as much time to do whatever he needs to do with a nice little extra long contract. That's not quite the norm for a new head coaching contract. So I'm very curious to see what Matt Rule does there. I like Matt Rule, so I'm wishing him the best of luck. But I can't say that I'm feeling too sorry for a lot of people associated with the Baylor program at this point, even though they've moved on in a lot of ways. But who knows what else more we're going to find out, and I hesitate to think that, and that's unfortunate. It just is. Yeah, but at the same time, these kids have now known what's going on in Baylor for some time, and if something does come down, then hopefully these kids will be given the same punishment that USC and Penn State were given, whereby the kids are free to transfer and play immediately. Yeah, I think that's absolutely the way that it has to be done. Every kid that's gone to this program now, as far as I know, has not been tied to whatever was going on there. There may have been some devotion to the coach that maybe have been a little misguided, but honestly, I don't think anyone that's still in that program or coming into that program now, it doesn't have that taint attached to them, I think.
No, I'm pretty sure every single person who's even had a rape letter attached to their name has, all right, you're going to sit this out until we sort everything out. Like, at this point, it doesn't matter if she's crying wolf. Like, you just have to take people and sit them out until you've sorted it out. It's just...
Agreed.
It's the way things have to be done at this stage. It sucks for everyone involved, like you said, but, it sucked more for the women.
Absolutely.
Far more for the women.
Yeah, and no one's ever going to dispute that. So, obviously, we'll continue to watch it because it's an important story.
Because it ain't going anywhere.
It's not going anywhere, that's right. On a lighter note in the sports world, and this will be our last sports topic before we move on to our gaming section, spring training's right here. Pitchers and catchers are reporting. I know it's kind of a breath of fresh air for me just to have something new to talk about. As a Phillies fan, personally, I'm not really expecting a whole lot out of the season. But, to me, Josh, I don't know about you, I always feel like the day that pitchers and catchers report, it's kind of it's a much needed relief and a change of pace, I think, on the sports talk conversation as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. Spring training is just one of those things like that. I like it. You know what I think I enjoy about spring training is the excitement that everybody else has.
Yeah, I think that's a good way of looking at it.
It's not something that I feel any particular affinity toward, but as I see everybody else getting so excited about the return of baseball, my heart warms to the return of baseball. I think it's a thing that happens throughout the land. The avid baseball lovers who are like, oh, God, yes, pitchers and catchers reporting this week. Those guys start it all off. Those are the guys that are first on your timeline where you're like, wow, you've got way too much time on your hands. But then right after pitchers and catchers start reporting, the team starts showing up, and then we get spring ball, and before you know it, we're looking at the start of the brand new major league season, and the question of what history will be made this year. Will the Cubs repeat as champions? Will they continue to be in the thick of things like the Boston Red Sox were after they broke their curse, or will this simply be a one and done? It's going to be interesting, man. There are a lot of really good teams out there, so
it's a clean slate for everybody, and that's why I like
my Red Sox, who have hired Dave Dombrowski, who has proceeded to trade away everybody in our farm system, which I was warned by my good friend on the American Citizens podcast, who works for Larry Brown Sports and also manages the Tigers ESPN site, Walk Off Woodward, or Walk Off Woodward, I think, one of the two. And, he told me that this was going to happen. So, I'm a bit apprehensive about my Red Sox right now because I'm not sure if the current general manager is going to gut our perfectly great farm system or if someone's going to stop him before he can do that.
Well, I'll wish you the best of luck with all that going forward because, like I said, I'm a Phillies fan, so I don't have a whole ton.
You have nothing to worry about. No accomplishments will be made.
We're trying to trust the process with the baseball team right now, like the Sixers were doing in the NBA. But, hey, like I said, clean slate for everybody. You never know what's going to happen. And, honestly, I work from home, so I like having a baseball game on during the day. That's one of the things I'm most looking forward to. Spring training gets underway, so that's going to be. Baseball fans, we'll try touch base with some baseball throughout the season, I would think, on the podcast. And maybe we'll even play some baseball video games, Josh. It's something we've experimented with before. Maybe we'll try it again sometime. MLB The Show 2017 is coming out. I don't know the exact release date for this game, but one thing I'm looking forward to is
usually the end of March.
Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. I do have the release date. It is March 28th. So you're right at the end of March.
Boom! It's usually the end of March or the middle of March that they release the show. Mm-hmm. It's right at that perfect sweet spot to give you like a couple of weeks to enjoy it before the season begins. You can set up your roster just so gives people time to go in and completely update the entire. You get the day one rosters, so you have everybody on the right team and everything. So, I'm excited. I haven't even seen anything about really the show 17, so I'm excited to see what new.
I've seen a couple things, and I just want to say I follow a couple people on Twitter that follow the video game sports industry very closely. One of them, Pasta Padre, another guy, Steve from, I think, Operation Sports, I think it is. Whatever one of them I'm following has been sending out some screenshot comparisons of individual players compared to the MLB The Show 2016 compared to this year's game. So you're kind of seeing some of the upgrades there. And if you follow those guys, you're going to get some more screenshots along the way. One thing, though, that I took particular note was within the last week or so, they put out a video showcasing the new retro mode, which, if you've seen it, it looks exactly like Ken Griffey Jr. presents Major League Baseball from the Super Nintendo. I mean, they mimic that look and that play style to a T. And I think if there's one thing that I'm kind of looking forward to with that game, it might be getting a chance to play in that mode.
The show 17 retro. Let's look at this. It is Griffey inspired.
Yes. Yeah, Griffey's all over this year's game.
I'm okay with that.
I'm fine with that, too.
If he's on the cover, I'm okay with that.
I believe that he is, actually. So, obviously this is a big year for Ken Griffey Jr. He's going into the Hall of Fame. So, I mean, that's one of the big reasons why he's going to be the centerpiece of this year's game, which is perfectly fine with me. I love getting a chance to, I love Ken Griffey Jr. He was one of my favorite players of all time. And obviously he didn't play for my team, but he was one of those guys that I grabbed onto on the national scene. Just kind of, every time he was on the TV, I would try to watch him, and obviously big fan of the old Super Nintendo game as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think I owned like 3 different copies of that Super Nintendo game because I'd let some friends borrow it. I'd never get it back, and then all of a sudden I'd have to go buy another one. So I'm all about it. Taking a look at this here, the show 17, and here comes the retro mode. Oh, this is just absolutely outstanding.
Okay. Yeah, see, that's exactly what I thought. I mean, it looks exactly like it.
That's absolutely outstanding. I mean, there is no way in heck that I'm not buying that. Yeah, that's happening.
Yeah, you're sold on that one, right?
God damn it, man. I didn't want to buy another game in March. I'll have to delay that. I'll have to push that one back into May because I'm getting the Switch in March.
Yes. Yeah.
I just don't know that I could justify buying the Switch in 2 games plus the Pro controller and then another game.
Yeah. I think I'm going to push this one back as well, but I love the way it looks, and I'm looking forward to giving it a try. All time, some of my favorite baseball games were the more simpler ones, so like RBI Baseball on the Nintendo and the Ken Griffey Jr. on the Super Nintendo. So anything that's kind of inspired by that look and that feel, I'm all about. So I'm looking forward to that one. But like you said, I may have to push that one back because it's gonna be a busy beginning of the March with the Nintendo Switch coming out. Another thing I wanted to throw your way with the Nintendo Switch, we're getting some of the rumors, we're getting some information as we're approaching the release date for this system. And one thing that you may be particularly interested in is some of the graphical aspects of it. Some of the information that's come out says that this system may be capable of 4K video at 30 FPS, frames per second. So that sounds like it might be encouraging. I think as far as the graphical looks of the games that the system's going to be playing is. The only problem is, right now, the designers that are producing games for it can only go up to 1080p at 60 FPS. But I think what I'm taking note of here is it looks like Nintendo is looking forward to what this system could eventually be once more resources and much more is learned about how to produce for the game. So, I know you're a big fan of the 4K video out there. Is that something that is encouraging to you for this system?
So it is 4K is something that I use in my house. I try to buy 4K copies of movies as well as 3D, but I don't think people understand exactly how much goes into a 4K production. Like, it's going to be a while before things are streamed in 4K, before sports are done in 4K. So I think people are going to have to get used to it. I think 1080p is going to be the standard for the time being. But it is encouraging that Nintendo at least has ideas of what they want to do.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, one thing that Nintendo has been lacking for years is really thinking forward as to what's going to come in down the pipeline. So they've kind of set themselves back because of that, I think, in many respects. And maybe while they have thought outside the box a little bit and trying to think in the future, in some ways, those paths haven't necessarily been cleared in what they had hoped at the time. So obviously, with the way that video is going today, preparing for the possibility of 4K is, I think, a wise thing to do, because you got to be prepared for it. Otherwise, you could potentially be left behind, and then you may be in a situation where you have to upgrade your actual console the way that Sony and Microsoft have with theirs, and maybe this is a way that could reduce that possibility.
It's funny because my roommate actually was waiting on the news of Project Scorpio, whether or not because he just bought a 4K TV, but he has nothing. I'm the only one in the house with anything that can handle because I have the Xbox One S, and he was waiting to see when the Scorpio was going to be released so that he could, he was just going to buy the newest and best system that was out. But then it came out that it wasn't going to be even released until the end of the year, and he's like, yeah, I'm not waiting until December to watch something in 4K on my TV. Like, that's just an utter waste of money. So he did have to go out. So in all reality, his $600 TV became a $1,000 TV because he went out and bought the Gears of War edition Xbox One. But like I told him, I said the advantage of doing that is that you already live with me, and I'd have like basically every game that we could want for that system, save for a couple that you like and I don't. Because he's into The Witcher or, Shadows of Middle Earth or those types of games, whereas I don't want to shoot shit with a bow and arrow. Give me a gun.
Right.
I need my game to have indoor plumbing.
Yeah, I think that's a good way of looking at it. One last gaming related topic I want to throw your way, and then we'll use this to kind of transition into our pop culture segment.
Yeah.
Netflix. Big news for the Netflix fans. Castlevania is being adapted to a Netflix series. Were you a big Castlevania fan?
I was.
Or are you? Yeah. That's a franchise. It's a franchise I never owned a Castlevania game, so I never really got too invested in it. But I definitely respect it. One of the ideas that's been kind of floating around out there in the rumor mill is the possibility of Nintendo maybe looking to find ways to bring some of their popular franchises into a movie or a Netflix adaptation. Castlevania is not owned by Nintendo, of course, but it's kind of interesting that we're seeing a video game franchise be adapted into a standalone Netflix series. So the information that's come out says that the plot for this Castlevania series on Netflix is going to be taking inspiration from the Castlevania 3. So I don't know if you played Castlevania 3 or not, but that's the basic.
I did play.
That's going to be the basic plot line for the Netflix series. Anything Netflix throws out there, I'm willing to give a chance. So I'm looking forward to seeing this series. I don't know when it's actually being released. I don't know if that's been confirmed yet, but interested in the Castlevania series coming to Netflix.
Absolutely, man. I enjoy a lot of what Netflix does, and if it's a property that I'm familiar with, that's only going to put more interest into the vessel, or the cup, if you will, and sooner or later it is going to overflow, especially as I start to see the previews, because Netflix always launches these, they start small and they go eventually get a little bit bigger, but even just the small teaser trailers make you go, oh, I can't wait!
and speaking of Netflix teaser trailers, I know you are looking forward to Iron Fist, the latest Marvel property to come to Netflix. I'm looking forward to it as well. Give us your reaction to what we've seen from Iron Fist so far, and what we can expect to see once this finally drops on Netflix.
Man, this is the final Defender. He's also kind of the most quirky guy. He's got a story that's very, very similar in nature to Doctor Strange. But also at the same time very much different than Doctor Strange. But yeah, he does end up in a magical city, and he does earn the right by taking down the dragon to be called the Iron Fist. This looks very interesting because you finally start to see, like, maybe this is the series we finally find out what Madame Gao is up to, because she's just been kind of hanging out there, and like, we know she's a no good Nick, and we know that she's got some serious power because we've seen her use it. Mm-hmm. But we don't yet know who Madame Gao is, or how she fits into what's going on with not just Nelson and Murdoch, but also, Luke Cage, as well as who the hell am I? Yes, Jessica Jones.
Right.
So I'm always excited for Marvel, and I guarantee you I'm going to plow through this in a weekend. But I got a question for you, man.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that Marvel really likes to do things with people's eyes?
With their eyes?
Eyes, yeah. Like they like to poke them, stab them, put shit through them. Otherwise, like, in one scene, Frank Castle used his thumb to gouge somebody's eyes out in the prison scene. So I'm curious to see how many different ways people are going to die by getting something straight to the eye in this, because for whatever reason, that is as prevalent as the number 12, maybe even more so in Marvels.
I don't know if I ever picked up on the eye thing. Obviously, I know about the running gag of chopping someone's hand off as taking inspiration from not Return of the Jedi, Empire Strikes Back. So I'm aware of that one, but I haven't really picked up on the eyes. But I'm going to now, and I'm sure the next time I watch anything with Marvel, I'm going to, as soon as I see it, I'm going to say, that's what Josh was talking about. It happens all the time, and I'm never going to stop noticing it.
You're never going to unsee it.
I'm never going to unsee
it.
Exactly.
Especially if you go back and watch the first season of Daredevil, mm-hmm. It will make itself evident in the first 3 episodes alone. Daredevil Season 1. If you just watch those first 3 episodes, you'll be like, holy crap, how did I not notice this?
Well, that's one thing I'm probably going to do at some point this year, because I'm trying to, I'm up to date with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but every now and then I get the kick to let's start from the beginning and watch it unfold. And so I'll probably end up doing that at some point, probably over the summer, because that's when I kind of do those kinds of things. But I'll keep an eye out for that. No pun intended.
I do the same thing. We call them Marvel-thons in this house, and we've had to restrict them lately because it used to be that upon every release, we would literally watch every other Marvel movie leading up to it, and then watch that movie. But as the phases have gotten larger, you're just like, all right, so we'll start with phase 2.
Yeah, that's probably not a bad idea. But this current phase is really coming together nicely. Very much looking forward to Iron Fist. I'm kind of curious to see, are any of the other Defenders going to creep into the Iron Fist storyline, or is it going to be forced, or is it just going to all come together in Defenders? But that aside, other Marvel news. Lots of stuff going on here. We've got a new commercial that aired during the Super Bowl for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Again, very much looking forward to Guardians of the Galaxy. I cannot state that enough. I think the first one was a movie I had very little knowledge about going in, and now I'm all about the Guardians of the Galaxy. Love them. I can't wait for the second one. Did you see that commercial by any chance? I'm sure you probably have by now. And has your
which commercial?
The commercial for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
You know what? I have seen parts of it. I am trying to watch so very little of this because I don't want the best moment spoiled for me.
Fair. Yeah, that's fair.
But I need no hype to be ready for Guardians of the Galaxy 2. We're gonna go watch it at midnight the night of. That movie is it has a consensus between the wife, the roommate, and myself. is at or near the top for all of us on our list of the best movies.
Absolutely. I will say, my wife actually convinced me to go see the movie when it first came out because she was more interested in it than I was. And now I can guarantee we're not going to see it at midnight, I'm sure, but we will be seeing it on that opening weekend. So we will have, when that time comes, we'll definitely be breaking that movie down right here on the Hyrule Huddle podcast. Remember, everybody who's listening to this, you can check us out at HyruleHuddle.com. You can follow us on Twitter at Hyrule Huddle. Like us on Facebook at Facebook.com/The Hyrule Huddle. And check out the Twitch channel at Twitch.tv/The Hyrule Huddle. One other Marvel note. Infinity Wars. It's starting to come together. They're getting started. Did you watch
production? Yes, I did.
I'll let you go in a second here, but just the fact that we saw the one image where we've got Robert Downey Jr., Tom Holland, and then Chris Pratt just on the same stage, having them on the same stage, that was a pretty cool scene. And we didn't even see anything yet, and I'm looking forward to this thing.
Yeah, I pretty much can't wait for it.
that pretty much sums it up right there.
Yeah, I mean that's just my feeling on the matter. I just can't wait for it. Like it makes me happy. Like the Infinity Wars, I know fans are going to be upset at the end of the first one. They're going to be like, it's bullcrap that it ended that way. That sucks. Like, especially knowing that they're going to have to wait until 2019 to find out how this thing resolves itself. Mm-hmm. But for me, I'm looking at this as finally, we are going to get a villain that comes down and just wrecks so much shop. Like, people thought that Chitauri were a problem. Oh, man. Wait until Thanos of Titan is bearing down his unwieldy power on the heroes. I will be curious to see if the comic or if the movie takes how many elements they actually take from the Infinity Gauntlet storyline, whether they decide to use some elements of Infinity Wars in there, which was sort of a secondary story that was really actually more about Thanos finding redemption than anything else. In the post-Infinity Wars, he actually helps stop an invasion. Yeah, I can't wait for this because Thanos is finally coming. He's bringing with him, presumably hell.
Right.
And it's entirely possible that not everyone's going to make it out of this war.
Yeah, I mean, well, obviously, this is what they have been building up to for years now. So, I mean, to finally get a chance to see it officially getting started, I think it just gets the anticipation going. And yes, we do have to wait for it, but we know it's coming. We know they're working on it. It's all starting to come together, and
it's just going to have that like Empire Strikes Back ending where people are like, "No, this sucks."
Right?
Like, why do I have to wait? Like, that's such a brutal reveal, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Especially if I'm thinking, I don't know if you've read the Infinity Gauntlet storyline from Marvel, but there's a certain thing that happens in the comics that if it happens in the movie will show you exactly how much power these gems have once. Like, to put it this way, the havoc that Thanos caused with these gauntlets, or with the gauntlet and the gems, caused the Adam Warlock and sort of the Infinity Watch to bring the gauntlet before the Living Tribunal, which is basically the second most powerful character in the entire Marvel universe, aside from the one above all, which is basically like the permanent creation of Jack Kirby, you know, the actual godfather of all these characters. He and Stan Lee did most of the creation. But the Living Tribunal is sort of like the second. They mention the Living Tribunal very, very briefly in Doctor Strange, which, by the way, is out now digitally if you'd like to buy it. It came out yesterday.
Yeah.
Actually, technically it comes out on the 14th, but you pick it up at post 9 o'clock yesterday, which I did. I have my digital copy of Doctor Strange already. But in the little training montage that he's going through when Shiwei, I don't know, I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce his name, man. I always butcher it. But Baron Mordo. Baron Mordo talks about how some magic is too powerful and they have to imbue objects with them, and he pulls out the staff of the Living Tribunal. Well, that's basically the most powerful entity in the Marvel Universe, and after Thanos created his havoc with the stones, the Living Tribunal ruled that the stones can never be used again in as a unit, if you will. Mm-hmm. Like they're permanently no longer, under any circumstances, no matter how bad it gets, can the stones ever be used again. And this is sort of the end result of everything after the fallout of Thanos, like I said, getting control of the gauntlet. So it'll be interesting to see how much of that stuff they put in there, because there is a lot of fallout and a lot of things that happened. So Marvel has the potential to do a lot of things in Infinity Wars, and it's just exciting. It's exciting.
It really is, and it's far more exciting than what's going on with the DC stuff. But go ahead. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, you know what I think makes this the most exciting is that Marvel set this thing back in 2007 with Iron Man.
Right.
And we've been watching this stuff, like, it's like Kevin Feige said in the snippet. This has never been done before. What we're doing has never been done before in cinema. Like, they have created a genre in cinema with this, this multi-dimensional universe. And we've been along for the entire ride. And now we're about to get the payoff.
Yeah, it's been, like I said, a long time coming. They've been building for this for so long that the anticipation level goes up, and I'm ready to see if they're going to meet the expectations and the hype. And given the track record, I think that they might. I think they might pull this off. But like I said, it's very exciting. very much looking forward to everything that they've got going on. But of course, we have to wait a while until we get to the Infinity Wars. We still have Guardians of the Galaxy, we still got Spider-Man, still got Thor to get through this year. So we have a lot to keep us busy just before then. But I imagine those films are going to help just continue to pull this together. And I guess one thing I'd be curious to see is if in the upcoming Guardians of the Galaxy, are they going to build that story to leading us to how the the Guardians are going to meet the Avengers, or is that something that's going to be kind of teased in the post-credit scenes? So many things that are going to have to come together these next few films, but I know that they've got a plan. And we'll see what they do with it, right?
And apparently this just came out. I didn't even know they were doing it, but their Marvel's Cloak and Dagger series has just added 6 new actors to the cast. They joined the new Freeform series. This is going to be interesting. I guess there is a Cloak and Dagger story that is coming.
I was unaware of that, so we'll keep an eye out for that. Any other movie news or any other movie commercials catch your eye during the Super Bowl or since the Super Bowl? Because there were a few that dropped during the Super Bowl. We saw Logan, saw new Transformers.
Don't care about that. Care about that. We did comment about the Fast and the Furious. Because we commented about the Fast and the Furious when we were in in the movie theater. I was like, how are they going to top going, like having this building chase that they had in 7, where he literally drives a car so fast that he drives it into the adjacent building.
They're going to have to take this series into space sometime soon, right?
Yeah, basically. Like, they're running out of shit they can do.
Yeah. We also saw a new Pirates of the Caribbean,
which I stopped caring about long.
You know what? Yeah, I lost interest in Pirates of the Caribbean. The third or fourth film, whichever one it was.
I think the third did me in.
Yeah, I think that's what. I loved the first one. I thought the second one was okay. Then after that, it just went downhill. I thought the fourth one was a little better than the third, but still, I had lost interest. But you know what? There's something about Jack Sparrow that it's going to lure me back in. I know I'm going to see this movie, so I'm willing to give it a chance to see what it does. So, I'll keep an open mind, I think, when I see it, but I'm not going to have insanely high hopes for it, I guess.
That makes sense. That's kind of where I'm at with Logan. I'm going to go and see Logan. I don't really have high hopes for it. Mm-hmm. It's not even really set in the Marvel universe that it's been set in, which is crazy considering it has Patrick Stewart playing Charles Xavier again.
Yeah, yeah. Like, I love Patrick Stewart, so I was kind of.
I love Patrick Stewart as well, and I think Ian McKellen and it's hard for me to see anyone else as Magneto and Charles, but then I also love Fassbender and James McAvoy. I think they do a fantastic job. I'm interested in Logan. I'm interested to see the Marvel's adaptation, I guess, of what amounts to X-23, which would be the code name for the little girl. And of course, it's going to be rated R, so we're finally going to get to see the beheadings that we've been wanting. That it's probably been past time. Like, that's really what's been killing the Wolverine movies, is that they've been trying to do crap in PG-13, and that's ultimately why I think The Punisher failed as a movie. Because you can't do a PG-13 version of some characters. They're not PG-13 characters, and Logan is one of them. People usually end up dead in very violent ways with Logan.
Yep.
And to honor that is tricky, because you want to bring in your audience, but at the same time you want to be faithful to the comics. So I think this Logan is going to be the first time in a long time that they've been faithful to the actual comic. And I'm excited to see it. I don't know if I'll see it more than once, like I haven't done with any of the other. I thought Origins was awful. I went and saw the Wolverine, and I thought it was crap. So, hopefully this one is better, because Logan hasn't impressed me on any of his individual outings,
Yeah, understood. Hey, speaking of X-Men, have you seen the new TV series on FX?
I have.
I haven't watched it yet, so don't spoil anything, because it's sitting on my DVR.
I can't spoil anything. I don't know what's going on.
Oh, see, I was just going to ask you. Just give me a quick thumbs up, thumbs down. Is it first episode?
It's really interesting. Basically, the character is David Haller, who is the son of Charles Xavier. Great segue, right? Is the son of Charles Xavier, but he also has these split personalities. Now, each one of his split personalities can manifest a different power. Like one of his personalities will be telekinetic. Another one of his personalities will be telepathic. Another one of his personalities is to absorb power. So he's basically an Omega level mutant, which means he's got serious power.
Okay.
But he's got a mental instability that prevents him from controlling them. Okay. And the series starts out with him in a mental hospital. And at first you're not sure what you're watching, but then you're kind of interested. And at the end of it, you're going, okay, I'll give this another go.
Okay. Yeah, it's sitting on the DVR. Like I said, I'll probably watch it either later tonight or maybe tomorrow. But it's I've got a number of shows I got to get through still before I get to it. But and real quick, speaking of shows, do you watch Walking Dead or do you watch that new 24?
I do not watch Walking Dead. I do not watch 24. I never really was a 24 fan when Jack Bauer was around. I suppose I should say Kiefer Sutherland, since this new guy is Jack Bauer also. But I've never watched the series. It's just never. I don't know. I've tried watching an episode here and there, and I get the premise of it. I can see why people would like it, but for me, it's just I kind of enjoy watching. I don't like watching a literal hour.
It's not for everybody. I know. I'll just say I have watched it. I'm a big 24 fan, but so I was kind of excited for this series to kind of be rebranded and brought back. It's nostalgic. It's hitting a lot of the same things that the 24 series is pretty much known for, and a lot of it is just kind of ridiculous. So if you're into that, it's okay. It's not the same, I think, without Jack Bauer, I think, but I'm going to stick with it, but just wanted to see if you were watching that show, and then since you're not, we're not going to talk about it too much on this podcast, but I did want to, because I just caught up on The Walking Dead. I just watched Sunday's episode last night, so I was just curious if that was a show that grabbed your interest either, so doesn't sound like it is, so we can move on from those topics of conversation as well. One last thing that I had for you, are you a fan of the Ring franchise, the movie franchise, The Ring, or any of those movies?
I saw the original way back in the day, so I know the premise. But I wouldn't exactly say that I've been lining up to watch The Ring as they come out. Although I did enjoy the little video that they put up where they were scaring the hell out of people in TV stores.
Yes,
So
that was pretty good. And I'll say this about The Ring. I liked the original. I thought the original was really good. But that was all I needed. I don't know how many movies they've come out with since, and including this one that's
I'm not even sure the original really like wrapped itself up. Like said, I just feel like with these borrowed from Japan horror movies, it's like there's no resolution to it, and more bad stuff keeps happening. It's like, well, why would I want to keep watching that?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I haven't seen all of the movies, but I imagine the plot is not all too different from the original, and that's why, for me, like I just said, the first is good enough for me. It gets my fix in for The Ring, so I haven't seen the new one, so I don't know if it's any good or not. So if anyone is listening to this and wants to let us know what they think of it, feel free.
Please do. We'll read your review on air.
What about Lego Batman? Are you interested?
I have every interest in the world in seeing Lego Batman. Batman was the best part of the Lego movie.
I thought so too. I've heard a lot of good things about this movie. I don't really have any plan to go see it, but if it comes out on video eventually, or streaming or whatever, I'll probably check it out. But I gotta say, all the reviews seem to be very positive. I think for the most part.
I'm actually going to see it today, so.
Well, you let us know what you think about it.
I will. I'm going to go catch a matinee of it today, but...
It's not a spoiler, but I hear there are a ton of references that you're going to have to keep an eye out for, so I'm sure you'll enjoy that.
I am sure that I will try and catch as many as I possibly can, but... No, Lego Batman has been on my to-do list. I just think that Lego right now can do no wrong.
I wonder what they're going to do next.
Are winners.
They have done, the video games are terrific. I wish that they would refrain from using the actual audios from the movie.
I wish they would too. I really, really, really enjoyed the Lego Avengers game that they came out with, the first one. Yeah. Lego Marvel Superheroes.
Yes, that was great.
Because they created an original story and then wrote around that. And then you get the second one, and it was fun, but I felt a little let down. Because I ended up playing a whole bunch of scenes from movies that I'd seen. They generally weren't a lot of fun, some of them. Like, it was just beating up crap to put crap together so you can move on to the next level where you beat up crap to put crap together.
That's pretty much what a lot of the formula is. I mean, go back and look at Star Wars.
I don't mind that when there's a fun story behind it. When I'm playing a story that I've already watched, like, I've seen the Avengers Age of Ultron enough times. Like, I don't need to play it. Like, Lego has enough people that Take-Two, isn't it Take-Two that does them?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I feel like Take-Two should be giving us more original stories and stop piling us on with just direct adaptations. They have the power to do it, they have the ability to do it, and they've done a good job with it in the past.
Yeah, the older Lego Star Wars games, the Lego Harry Potter games, I think were fantastic, and they didn't need to, while they follow the plot lines of the movies, they still have their unique twist on it, and I think that's something that's been kind of lost as they've gone and they started to add in the actual audio files from the movie, and it just kind of loses the character to me a little bit, but it's a minor nitpick. The games are still fun, but to me it's a little bit more fun when you get to use your imagination a little bit. Isn't that what Legos are all about?
Yeah, exactly. Like, and there's little to no imagination in some of these games, so it just is what it is, But I'll still say that I really do enjoy the Lego games. I think they are fantastic. I think that they're something that, it doesn't affect us yet because neither one of us have kids, but if we do have kids, my kid won't have to try too hard to convince me to play a Lego video game.
I think that's a fair way. It's easy to pick up. It's easy to play. It's not the most challenging. If you want to 100% complete it, it can be a challenge. But just pick it up and play it. It's easy to get going, and that's one of the good things about this game.
Some of those flying things to get 100% can just straight kiss my ass.
I agree with that, and I think that's one of the reasons I stopped playing one of the games that's probably still sitting on the backlog right now. All right,
yeah,
Josh,
I got stuck doing the flying level just above the on the helicarrier in one of those games, and I was like, yeah, I'm not doing this.
I'm done. Yeah.
I'm done. I don't need that platinum trophy. One of these days I'll get it. But yeah, we got to wrap up.
Yeah,
so
we covered a lot of ground. We covered a lot of ground here. Is there anything real quick you want to throw into the mix before we do wrap it up? Or I don't know if there's too many things we missed, actually, despite how long we've been gone. I think we covered a lot of ground here.
No,
there are some topics we can throw into the mix for the next time we podcast, and we'll have to figure out when we're going to do that. But I'm happy with what we got here. So, real quick, let's remind everybody how they can follow us once again. Check out the website, HyruleHuddle.com. We've got a Twitter account at Hyrule Huddle. Like us on Facebook at Facebook.com/The Hyrule Huddle. And the Twitch channel is twitch.tv/The Hyrule Huddle. Guys, next week I'm going to hop on the Hyrule Huddle Twitch channel, and I'm going to play something. I don't know exactly what it is yet, but I'm going to play something. I might start the Final Fantasy journey. We talked about this a few episodes back, where I've never played a Final Fantasy game. Josh, I think I'm going to hop on sometime next week, one of the days where I've got some time to work with, and I think I'm going to dive into the original Final Fantasy, if that's cool with you.
That is completely cool with me, my good friend.
Awesome. And we'll do some other things moving forward as we get reacclimated with Twitch and everything like that. But like I said, follow us on Facebook, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, check out the Twitch channel, and of course you can follow us individually on Twitter as well. Josh is at FightOnTwist. I'm at Kevin on CFB. And guys, until next time, thank you for listening. Let us know what you guys want us to talk about. We're always open to suggestions. If you have any feedback, constructive criticism, or you just want to tell us that we suck, I am more than willing to hear that. I may not necessarily agree with that, but we're always willing to hear what you guys have to say. Josh, anything you want to say to the people before we say goodbye? Just
keep hanging in there. If you have any feedback on what we could do to make life better, let us know. I put a poll out on Twitter, an unofficial poll. There's 46. There's only 5 hours left on this poll, so undoubtedly people will not hear this. But I asked which has the worst buyback policy, GameStop or University Bookstore.
Ooh, that's a good one. I'll have to give that some serious thought and cast my ballot.
Yeah, please do so. Right now, University Bookstore is in a slight lead, but it's been neck and neck the whole way. I've been kind of surprised about that. I think there are one or two people who are voting on this that don't have an experience at GameStop, though.
That could be.
And I'm sure there's one or two people voting against GameStop that have no experience with the University Bookstore, so it all works. But other than that, I will be on Twitter just BSing and doing whatever. I've got a podcast with Matt Waldman upcoming for Turf Show Radio on Wednesday, so if you've never checked out Matt Waldman before, his work on Rookie Scouting Portfolio is one that draws a lot of attention from people around the league come draft time, so be sure to check that out if you can. And other than that, you can check out some of my work on the Marble Report, where I just picked up a writing gig. But that's all I got. What about you?
Not a whole lot going on. I might have a new college football podcast on no2minutewarning.com this week. I'm going to try and organize that. Got something that's coming up on Athlon Sports, taking a look at some first-year players for Penn State, if there's any Penn State fans happening to be listening. But other than that, I'm just going to keep busy with some stuff going on at College Football Talk. I'm doing some streaming on the McGuire Code. If you want to check out the McGuire Code on Twitch, I've been trying to get that stream getting back kicked up and ready to go so I can do some smooth streaming on the Hyrule Huddle going forward. But, so keep an eye out. Just follow me on Twitter at KevinOnCFB. It's the best way to stay in touch. So, Josh, good talking to you again. We'll do this again soon, hopefully. And until next time, everybody, thank you so much for listening once again. And stay tuned. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.